At the end of Module 4, you will complete a midterm project. Here, you will see the instructions for this project. You will create an infographic or a poster. You can do this by hand. You can do it on PowerPoint or Word or some type of graphic program such as Canva or maybe a photo program that you use on your phone. I do not care. What is more important is the information with the infographic, not the artistry or the graphics, as well as what you will submit after you complete the infographic. So you will answer 5 things, and you may actually number them, or you just may write it as a paper. It doesn't matter. I don't care. In your first paragraph, you will summarize the topic and the issue. In the next paragraph, you will describe it in regards to the development of a person. So how does this, as an infant or toddler, impact the development of a person? You will then, in the next 2 paragraphs, you'll discuss at least 2 research or theory projects or information from the textbook and 2 other sources. And then in the final paragraph, you will write your conclusion, which kind of wraps back up to your infographic and the message that you are wanting to convey. I will show you some professional examples of infographics on a topic and walk you through the process. You must also include a works cited at the end where you actually use MLA or APA formatting to cite your textbook and your 2 other sources. So for this project, I say you may use sources from EBSCO or Gale's Opposing Viewpoints. Both of those you can get to from our website. So you go to the Allen homepage, you click on Library, you click on Database Access. Then in the middle here, you will see EBSCO Host, and quite frankly, it's been a long time since I have taken Comp 2. And so I find EBSCO Host kind of intimidating. I much prefer personally using Gale Opposing Viewpoints. So I'm going to click on that. And in Gale Opposing Viewpoints, you can click over here on the right hand side, Browse Issues. And you will find each of these issues that I have identified that you may choose from, you will find in their long list. I'm going to give an example that's not on the list, and so I am going to give an example related to child abuse. When you click on that topic, you click on Read More, you are offered a wonderful summary on the topic. And I would suggest before researching or getting too involved in your topic, I would suggest finding your topic on Gale Opposing Viewpoints and reading this summary to think about where your mind is going with this. Remember your age group. We have only talked about prenatal, infants, and toddlers. So prenatal development, infants, and toddlers is what we're talking about. And thus your topic is going to come back to that because you have to use your textbook. And I don't expect anyone to use information that we haven't studied yet as a group. So I'm going to read about child abuse. And when I read about child abuse and I think about infants and toddlers, I think about shaken baby syndrome. And I want to show you 4 different images or infographics on shaken baby syndrome. This one takes a very scientific, educated approach. And it actually shows what happens with shaken baby and how the brain actually rattles inside the skull. It talks about the different layers here, and then it actually summarizes it. So this is a very scientific-based shaken baby syndrome infographic. The whole objective here is to educate you about what shaken baby syndrome is. So perhaps your infographic is going to define an issue or define the topic for the general public. This infographic actually gets at preventing shaken baby syndrome by getting at the health of a caregiver. This is the mother. So what does a mother need to do to reduce stress and relaxation? So when that baby is crying, 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 and nothing is helping, that she is able to handle that stress. Because it is stressful when your baby gets colicky. And every baby will have its fussy times. And so this infographic takes a different spin, and it is spinning on this postpartum idea of postpartum depression, of preventing abuse through healthy lifestyle choices and behaviors to deal with stress. This tells us how to prevent it in a different way. And you'll notice they're made by the same company, by the same agency. But this is coming at it as, what do you do when you are so frustrated in that moment? Put the baby in a safe place, walk away, take a time out from the baby. It's okay. Take that crying baby, that purple crying baby, let them lay in their crib for a minute, and you go to a place in the house, count to 10, and take some deep breaths just for a few minutes, and then walk back in and be able to handle that baby so that you don't shake the baby and asking for help. So this is a different approach. So one topic, 3 approaches. And then this one is it educates and it gives you a strategy. Take a break. And what a great image, because you have that egg inside a shell, which is like your brain, the baby's soft brain inside their skull. And babies are very fragile. They need to be handled with care. And when a child is shaken violently, it can cause one or 2 things: death or a lifetime of disabilities. Don't ever shake a baby. So these are ideas of what the infographic might look like. And if I go back to Gail opposing viewpoints and the topic of child abuse, I can this is my long summary of it. And if I go back to my previous page and I scroll down from there, I can get into viewpoints, I can get into academic journals, and I can even go up here to the search bar and just put in shaken baby. And boom, I have different reference materials I can use. In our textbook, if I go to page 98, it talks about crying, it talks about abnormal crying, it also talks about how parents respond and that stressor. On page 114, it starts talking about states of arousal when crying and what that looks like, as well as going a little further, it turns into communication and interacting with the child and what that looks like for adults when they interact with their babies and take care of them, getting attached. So as we read on page 191, also 188 through 190, how parents get attached with their children and interact with their children and what that looks like and how that helps with issues that are stressful. You can also go back and use videos that we've watched in class. So our videos on the brain architecture that we watched from Harvard University, that would be a source that I could use also. But remember, I'm going to directly refer to those in my paragraphs over here, in my 3rd and 4th paragraph, as well as also my 2nd paragraph. You know, shaken baby syndrome is going to impact a child's learning and motor skills. It could impact their language. It really can have far-reaching consequences beyond just that moment of safety concerns. I might also choose to talk about the higher rates of shaken baby syndrome, where there are also higher rates of stress and postpartum issues, as well as stress in single parenting, age of parenting, socioeconomic levels, because all that impacts how we approach life and our networks as far as our safety nets for when we need help, and what's also causing other kinds of stressors for us. So hopefully this is a little helpful. Of course, I don't expect your infographic to look exactly like these by any means, but this is just, I want you to think about how you can concisely project a message or information to the general public, and then you're going to write about it in a more in-depth level. But again, it's only what? Your summary, paragraph 1, second paragraph, how that impacts development of a person. 3 and 4 is connecting to research and theories, and then 5 is your conclusion paragraph. So only 5 paragraphs, 3 sources. If you have questions, let me know. I look forward to seeing your projects.